look, I don't have the money for any of what I just said.
You do if you sell the video.
If they're smart enough to crawl it, at that point you're like, okay, you win. All right, you got up the ladder, so eat me. Damn it, Justin, because I could use the money.
And there's your rooftop tent right there.
Hi, I'm Justin with KrashFab, and you're listening to the Trailhead podcast.
Rev it up, let it roar, feel the ground shake. Pedal down, dust flying, no time to waste. The trailhead's calling, engine power on a roll. This is where trails start and stories unfold. On the starlit skies, where the wild things roam. Every trail a journey, every Jeep a home. Meet at the trailhead, where the wild ones run. The dust kicks high and the day's not done. With the road wide open and the dirt in our soul. This is where trails start and our stories unfold.
Well, welcome back to the Trailhead and our second part of our unhinged evening of too many people on the show. How's it? All right. I appreciate y'all hanging out for another few minutes here. We're going to just kind of, we'll go around the table here one more time and let folks know who's here. And we got a couple of news stories, and then we'll get out of here. Because for some people, who's on the East Coast? Is anyone on the East Coast? You are technically East Coast, so you are. It's up late for you, Kristy. I appreciate you hanging out as long as you have. It's 10:30 there. Okay.
It's late.
It's late. All right. It's late-ish. So we'll try to get you out of here by about 11 o'clock. We'll do that. That's my goal. So it'll be 15 minutes after that.
It's
okay. Good. All right. Awesome. All right. So that is Kristy from Drummond Island and Ozzy with her. How you guys doing?
great.
Good.
Awesome. All right. Everybody's bladder's empty now, I hope?
Yes.
Good deal. All right. And then Justin on Cali, how you doing, man?
Hey, how's it going?
Good deal. All right. KrashFab representing, because he's got all the logos on. He's like me, though. He's got the hat. He's got the shirt. You need a banner behind you.
Well, I actually got fined by the county. I used to have a big sign out by the road. I just got fined $800 for having a sign for my business. So I'm kind of on the shrinkage of signs right now.
Like, I have questions though. Like,
It's California.
like, was it?
It's California. Yeah. They changed the laws in my county at the beginning of this year, and then some Karen decided to drive around and complain to the county about every single sign that was now quote unquote out of compliance because they changed the laws. So I'm fighting it, but it's California. No more needed to be said.
So your whole county's an HOA now?
And
Most
we
of
live
California is an HOA.
True. Like we live out in the country. Like we live in a pretty cool county. Like we don't have smog in this county. Like we're a pretty cool county, except for stuff like this. So
Yeah. Look, there's a liberal talk show host. I'm not going to mention his name, but there's a liberal talk show host that talks about the fact that it took him 3 years to get approved for solar panels in California. And solar panels in California.
Yeah.
Like, and he's a TV host. Shouldn't have these kinds of issues. And yeah, it's a little bit ridiculous. So we probably
It's
do a
crazy.
whole show on just crazy crap going on with OHV and in California itself. But I want to get the Snail Trail guys on, or maybe Whiskey Wine, Wheeling Wine and Whiskey. One of you guys.
Yeah, those dudes are awesome.
I'm pointing at you guys. Come on the show. Let's talk about it. Awesome. All right. And then we got Mike and Amy Malone from Midwest Crawlers. How you guys doing?
Good, thanks.
Awesome. All right. And I'll get to you in a second, Loren. I see you on my screen, but you're going to be here in a minute because you're my first story up anyway. We're going to end up talking to you. All right. And then we got Steve. There is no Katie.
No Katie tonight.
How you doing, Steve? Yeah, all right. See, you guys trying to trip me up, though. You're trying to trip me up. You get me started. You get me all riled up before the show gets started. All right. And then Calvin and Jennifer, how you guys doing?
We're
Good.
doing good.
I just like to go around the table so people know whose voices are who. Otherwise, it just sounds like a bunch of us talking to each other, which is fine. But if you're listening to this in the car, it makes it real hard to tell who the hell is who. And then there's Loren. Loren, how you doing, man?
Hi, guys. How are you? It's good to be with you.
Good deal, man. It's good to have you, man. This was a great night to have you kind of, and you kind of chimed in to be on tonight before a lot of this kind of stuff happened in the last week, because it's been a kind of a busy week in the land use arena of stuff. So I'm going to do a little bit of news, and we'll start there, because I feel like it's going to take up most of our time, and then we're going to end up on the thing I think that Calvin sent me, because I want to talk about that. It's calmer, it's nicer, and it doesn't require anybody getting upset about public lands in any way, shape, or form. All right, cool. I want to start with this one. The USDA has officially rescinded the 2001 Roadless Rule, freeing nearly 59 million acres of national forest from restrictions that have prohibited road construction, reconstruction, and timber harvesting in these vast undeveloped areas. And I'm putting undeveloped in quotation marks because a lot of these had roads to begin with, if I'm being honest.
Yep.
While the original rule was intended to protect ecosystems by limiting development, it effectively locked out motorized recreation in many regions by preventing the creation or maintenance of access routes. Off-road groups like Blue Ribbon Coalition, NAPA, have welcomed the move as a critical step toward restoring access, improving wildfire mitigation, and allowing more active forest management. They argue that having the flexibility to manage these lands based on real conditions rather than blanket restrictions makes it much easier for everybody. Legal challenges are expected, but for now, this is a major victory for those advocating for open trails and sustainable land use. We've talked about this with Ben some. A lot of this is that mostly with the needle thing, where you end up with this road that ends into this wilderness area with no spokes that go to it anywhere, just because essentially they're looking to eventually just close that road or to just close access to that area. But Loren, you're our land use expert. So what does this mean for us, man? What does this mean for kind of like Utah? And maybe if you can kind of expand that out past that.
Well, the way a land use expert has gained their stripes in the last 4 years is you're an expert for about 5 minutes, and then things change. So
Yeah.
you don't stay on top very long. But the elimination of the roadless rule is a huge one. It's like you said, 59 million acres. So that's almost a third of all the national forest land is covered by the roadless rule. And so, when Secretary Rollins said she was rescinding that, she starts a process. So it's not rescinded today. It's going to take a process, and it's going to be probably a couple months while it goes through all the regulatory process they have to go through. But it will be rescinded. And that's a huge, huge gain. So we're really, really happy with that. On the BLM side, there's a lot of...
much for you?
Pardon?
Yeah, does that do much for you in Utah, or is that mostly for those of us with Forest Service land?
No, we have a lot of Forest Service land in Utah. Dixie National Forest is right out, 30 miles to the north of me here in southern Utah, and there's all kinds of forest land. Manti La Salle is up in northern Utah. They're going to be coming out with their travel plan very, very soon. It's actually at the cooperating agencies, the local governments, and the state right now being reviewed. So that's coming out. That's going to be a huge problem for snowmobilers. They're basically closing about 40% of the Manti La Salle, which is a huge forest. So that's going to be a huge issue for us. A couple of good things have happened, though, is BLM had a rule that they were really pushing last year, and they were requiring that all comments on land actions had to be substantive comments. And they had about 6 categories that a comment had to fit before it would be considered. And what this resulted in is 95% of all the comments that were submitted were disregarded. They were basically put in a round file. And the San Rafael Swell, where they closed 600 miles of trails, they had 6,000 comments. 94%, only 245 were actually considered out of 6,000. So that rule was eliminated in April. So there is no more substantive comment requirement for BLM right now, and that's a huge win, because people get frustrated when they speak up and they take the time to write the comments about the trails they like, and then they're disregarded. That's disheartening, and it really causes us issues with getting people to be motivated again. So we think that's really going to help us going forward, is getting rid of that rule.
When did that happen?
April the 11th.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's a huge one, because like we've had entire episodes about how to make a substantive comment.
Yep.
Like, because you had to get in there, and like at one point I'm telling people, like, use AI to try to help you, just to make a comment so that you can get it out there and get something out there that makes sense for people.
Yeah, so we've done something in Utah that's kind of unique. We've launched a program called Trail Saver, and Trail Saver is basically a database. And so what we're asking people to do is, anytime they go out on a trail, just jot a few notes about what made that trail special to them, because that's really what we want in comments, is what made that trail unique. Was it the obstacle? Was it the overviews? Was it JD getting stuck in the sand? Whatever it was that people remember about that trail, and attach some photos, because photos really, really help when you're going through land actions. Because what we found, especially like in Moab, when we went through the administrative record in Moab, we found that SUA, who's one of our biggest opponents here in Utah, they would submit very detailed reports on every trail. But guess what they took pictures of? They took pictures of areas that had no tracks on it. And so they would say the trail's not getting used. And so a lot of our trails got closed because they were not being utilized anymore, and they were being reclaimed. So pictures really tell the story of 1,000 words. And then what we do with that database is, when a travel plan comes up, we will email back the person that wrote the comments their notes, their photos, and say, this is what you do with them. And then we actually, because we were having such a problem with the substantive comments last year, we had our natural resource consultant was helping with comments. We were calling her our comments coach. So people could email her their draft of comments, and she would kind of wordsmith them to get them to count. And so that's a good thing that got eliminated.
Yeah. And I won't tell everybody to use ChatGPT or Bing or whatever else, but I will tell you that if you are not sure of what to say, start there.
Yeah.
There's a ChatGPT client that I have that is very familiar with how I feel about land use, and I can tell it what I'm talking about, and kind of give me an outline of what I want to say, and give me something back specifically. But the fact that you can kind of go in now and just say what you want to say, and not have to worry about it being X number of lines before it makes somebody actually care about it, it's a huge deal.
Yeah. And if you feed those photos into AI, it will help you write comments that are pertinent. Especially, AI gets smarter and smarter as it gets to know you. So when I go into ChatGPT, that's the one I use predominantly now, and it knows me. It knows what I'm looking to. It knows the arguments that I want to make.
It's a little scary. Yeah, it's a little scary.
It is scary. It is scary.
It's like, here's the thing. I've been doing the show for a year and a half, and I tell people all the time on a regular basis that the main reason it exists is because ChatGPT and AI, because it does my show notes, it does show prep for me. It gets things wrong sometimes, but that's how I end up, calling Calvin and Jennifer, Steve, and Katie. So that's how it happens. See, there are more embarrassing things than getting stuck in the sand, guys.
I mean, in all reality, we both drive Jeeps. We both drive Gladiators. We both overland. I mean, it's not a bad thing to be mistaken. I don't take it as an insult at all. So
No.
All right, that's fair.
You got a bat if you want to hit the ball.
exactly.
There's
Plus, I
that.
mean, it just shows JD's forgetting a lot of things.
Oh, I could have told you that before we got started tonight. What the hell are you talking about? Yeah. No. That's why, look, guys, my entire life is just leading up to hopefully having an assistant someday. Because I just need an assistant to remember all the shit that I forget all the time.
That's
all I
gotta
need.
pay those,
That's all I
though.
need. Yeah, well, I also have a problem delegating, so this assistant job you wouldn't do any work. It would just be me being like, no, it's okay. I'll take care of that. I'll be fine. You'll be good. Just give me some coffee, maybe. Will you get yourself some? Charge it to my card. It'll be fine. That's how that would go. Yeah. Okay. Kristy, do you guys have a pretty good working relationship with the Forest Service, right? Like, you don't have any kind of, obviously, you have a little bit less space to deal with. Okay. I was about to say, I knew I drove through some forest on my way out there. Okay. But yeah, you're kind of lucky in that regard, because Drummond Island is kind of considered its own, well, for lack of a better term, island out there on its own, doing its own thing within the state. So, good deal. And Mike and Amy, do you guys deal with the Forest Service at all out where you're at? Or is that all BLM, or is it just private parks?
Mostly for us, it's private parks. We do have some national forest land. We've got Mark Twain National Forest, but we are so far away that it's not for us.
Okay, that's fair. Okay, good deal. I'm just trying to figure out who else this particular rule might impact. Like, I think it's going to change some things in Colorado. I know it's going to change some things in Colorado. Let me put it that way. It's one of those things where they have used these kinds of rules in the past to essentially turn the crank down a little bit, turn the water pressure down a little bit on areas, and then they just keep turning the water pressure down until the trail's gone. You can't get out there anymore because they've done so many things to it that people don't go out there anymore. And to Lauren's point, like, they go out there and take pictures, and yeah, sometimes it's because they're taking pictures from the side of the trail where there aren't actually people going off trail to do it. Sometimes, and I can tell Lauren right now, there's a trail that I'm on that they did close. It was so poorly marked, and the grading had made it look like the trail didn't exist. So people didn't know to go on it. The only reason I knew I was where I was supposed to be was because I was following a track of where I was supposed to be. And I'm like, I can see, like, if I dig a little, a few inches underneath the sand here, I can kind of see the road here. But it becomes this thing where you've got to fight perception, and you've got to fight the rest of it. And every time they take away one of these kind of rules like this, it makes it that much better. And I live in an area that's wildfire prone. The most recent one that we had here was in 2012 that was near my home. And it was one of the most expensive in Colorado history. And we still have fire mitigation going on now up there on those trails. And the amount of bitching that I hear from people. Oh my God, they're destroying the trail. They're not. They're not destroying the trail. They're just trying to thin it out so that there's not all this deadfall, and then so that it's not terrible, and let them do their job and that's why we need those roads out there. And then if you do it right, if you work with the Forest Service, maybe you can work with them so that those roads that they open up for the logging, they leave open so that we can go camp on them. So, and that's what I would like to see.
And I think that's
need more camping space.
Traditionally, that's always been the rule rather than the exception. When logging went in, they were left open for public use afterwards. It's the exception when they're actually closed.
And I think that changed like 20, 30 years ago, right? And
2001.
The pendulum is starting to swing back the other way.
Yeah.
And it's good to see. It's just, we got to keep the foot on the gas.
I'd like to mention one other thing that people may not be aware of. The Secretary of the Interior actually opened a website, and I can send you the link to it, but they're looking for regulations or rules that you would like to have the Secretary of Interior or BLM review. And BRC and I have jointly gone into listed I've listed like 7 pages of regulations stating why they're wrong. We're focusing on 2 very specifically with BRC. We just sent that off today, but anybody that's got rules that bother them in your area, especially with BLM, haven't seen it for agriculture yet. So we'll have to stay focused on that. But I think with what I've heard about Secretary Rollins, it'll be soon that we'll have Forest Service comments open. So it makes a difference. They're listening right now. They're listening right now.
Yeah, I think they're going around the table, and I'm a person who I am a long defender of conservation and making sure that we don't slash and burn everything that we own.
Yeah.
But I also recognize that the trails behind my home were full of deadfall, and like I just took some video not a week and a half ago, and I'm getting ready to cut it for a Trails Offroad video. But when you see the area where I drive through, where they have not yet done the logging piece of it yet and kind of thinned it out, and then you get into the area where they have it, it looks real barren right now. And in a couple of years, you go to an area nearby where they started this 4 or 5 years ago, it's lush, and it's green, and there's bushes, and now there's new trees growing. But they needed to get in there and kind of clear some of that out, because it was just, everything had been so dead because 40 or 50 years of no management whatsoever.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of the piece where we're getting in. Are you saying, Calvin?
We've had those issues here in like northern Arizona, where everybody goes out and fights the Forest Service cleaning and thinning. And look at the massive wildfires we've had here in Arizona.
Yep.
And I would rather see a thinned out forest than a burned down, because camping and driving through these burned down areas is just devastating.
Yeah. And one of the things I'll mention as I went through those areas that have been recently logged, it opens up new camping opportunities.
Yeah.
Right? There's new opportunity. There's new views. There's new views of Pikes Peak that weren't there before. There's new areas where you can pull off. Again, check your local management, but in Colorado, within 300 feet of a road, in most places, depending on the trail, you're allowed to camp. And when you log it, you open up a whole new area that's close to the road that you can easily set up a camp without making a big deal out of it. And if you like a spot, go out there, make it a camp spot, make it into something that kind of stays there long term, and you can go back to it. And it's an opportunity, folks. Not all of it's doom and gloom.
Yeah.
Well, and
Trail is not tyranny.
Another nice thing about it here in Arizona is when we're not in a fire ban, a lot of those clearance, they leave big piles of wood. So you don't have to worry about cutting it. You don't have to worry about finding it. It's there. You take it, you build your campfire, you're good.
There you go. Yeah. In Colorado, I'll tell you, you probably need to make sure you might need to have a permit for that. But slash piles are probably okay. But again, don't listen to anything I say.
Sorry.
They didn't like that Colorado statement.
You know what? Nobody does. That's okay. I realize that at this point in my life. But yeah, check local listings. But sometimes you can get a permit, a really cheap permit to cut some of that wood or take some of that wood home with you. Most of the time in a slash pile that's been there for a while, they're not going to bug you about. But either way, yeah, somebody's profiting from getting that lumber, but the net benefit comes to you as the person that lives close to it, because they're not doing that kind of clear cutting stuff out in the middle of nowhere. They don't need to. They'll just let that fire burn when it hits, like it's supposed to. But when it's close to somebody, Justin, how far are you from like a populated area?
So I'm like 20 minutes or 25 minutes from like a major town city.
Okay.
And then it's funny you guys are talking about all this because I have a firefighting background. I was a fire captain for a few years. And fought a lot of fires in California. And I think I see this Forest Service Act primarily as them trying to prepare for more forest fire stuff, which is in turn going to help the off-road community with more access to backcountry. So I think it's a win-win. And then it's kind of interesting you guys talking about all the forest management and stuff like that, because we have the same issue in California where, the last 80 years of the Forest Service saying no, fire's bad, people bad, keep everybody out of the woods. They've actually discovered that they ruined the forests doing that. And so
Yeah.
now we're coming back to management. So I think it's really good. And it's kind of funny because the forest used to do this by itself with animals, and now people are around and now there's no animals. So now we have this problem. But it's going to be good for the off-road community to get some more trails. So I look forward to that too.
Yeah. I honestly, at the end of the day, that's always what I'm looking for is more access. But on the other end of it, yeah, I think it's just, it's just a logistics piece of things, right? Like if you want to have a quick response to a fire, I get an email every time a forest fire pops up here within probably about 75 miles of the house here. And typically they're the next day, or typically they're within about 8 hours of when it starts, when they first do their first notification on it. But some of them are human caused. Those are all, I can always point those out immediately based on the trail that they're at, because they're usually close to a populated area. But the ones that are out in the middle of nowhere, is you take one look at it, I'm like, man, that's going to burn for a minute. And I know it because I know there isn't a road to get out there anymore. I know because they closed that trail the year before, or they closed, 3/4 of a mile of this trail and that trail, which now means they're going to have to go this way and go that way to get around the trail, even if they want to bypass the logs and the berms that they put in to close that trail to recreational users. So seeing stuff like this is for me, it's good. I think there are other ways to legislate it as opposed to coming up with rules. And actually that brings me to my next story real quick to talk about here, because I know Loren has an opinion on it, and I think my opinion might differ a little bit from his, so I'm interested to see how this plays out. Let's see, the controversial Lee Amendment, which proposed fast-tracking the sale of federal lands as part of the budget reconciliation process, was quietly removed from the final version of the federal budget bill after being deemed ineligible for the process itself. The amendment had raised alarms among recreation and conservation groups who feared it could lead to piecemeal disposal of BLM and Forest Service lands without proper public oversight. Its removal marks a rare bipartisan moment in which the plan was largely unpopular on both sides of the aisle. Now, Loren, I'm going to defer to you first. You did more looking at this and research into it than I did. I have an opinion on it, but it's more about it's more of a government level opinion as opposed to just specifically to this amendment. So, what did you have? You guys did a whole post about this.
Yeah, so we really looked at it. First off, our primary focus is how will it affect OHV recreation. That's our primary focus. And we found when we looked at the way the bill was written, and Senator Lee is trying to make some change to make it more definitive with this 5-mile rule from being populated areas. But we didn't feel it was going to affect OHV that we couldn't manage through the 2 NEPA processes that will happen for each of the areas. So we weren't concerned about it. And so we took a position that we were against all the false maps that were created because they were totally created to drive a narrative, and they were totally fake maps. There was no basis in reality, because you look at these expansive maps and you wonder why are they going to all of a sudden build a community in the middle of nowhere? It just isn't going to happen. That's not the way the bill was written. But we didn't take a position that we could either support or oppose the bill. We only said we don't think it will affect OHV. And that is really, our position has been misconstrued. I can tell you the bill is not dead. It is still being worked on, and they're waiting for the parliamentarian to come back again. It's gone back and forth. It's just unbelievable what this reconciliation process is. but almost every bill in reconciliation is going back to this same parliamentarian to get a ruling on it. Yeah. So she's a busy woman right now.
Well, there are a lot of things, and whether or not regardless of whether or not you agree with the agenda or not, it is a way that you can try to get through some of your agenda as a party in any particular legislative cycle. Trying to get these things passed through a budget reconciliation process means it doesn't require as many votes. It usually only requires a simple majority. You don't need a 60 vote threshold to pass a bill. But that's kind of my issue with it. But does anybody else around the group have an opinion on this particular issue? Has anybody else been following this story? Does anybody know about it? Are Loren and I the only two policy nerds here for it? Okay, that's fine. I'm good with it. I'm okay with it. It's a bit of a pocket issue. I will admit to you guys, it's a bit of a pocket issue. And Loren, my only issue with it wasn't even necessarily the potential impact on OHV. I don't like when any politician from any party tries to put through something this big that has no oversight and review to it. And that was my only issue with this bill, was that it was a lot of land, we just had, as a community, the Chevron deference ruling, which kind of said you can't be vague anymore at a legislative place about what you want. If you say you want roads closed, then you need to say what it is that you want closed. And Mike Lee, as much as I like him for his public lands positions and a lot of things, it was way too vague of a bill. And it felt way too last minute. And if I'm being honest with you, I don't think he'll make changes enough to make. I think the 5 mile rule is a good rule change. I think it's a good way to make it a much smaller impact and a lot less in terms of having to negotiate that with just the public perception of it, right?
Yeah.
But he's still trying to pass through what I would call something that should be a legislative thing. That should be, if you're trying to make housing more affordable for people, then that should be something that's debated in front of Congress and debated in the Senate, not part of a budget process. And I think that's what a lot of people's issues with it. So I appreciate Mike Lee for his public land stance on a lot of things. This is just something I don't agree with him with. And I think he'll try. I don't think he'll be very successful at crafting something that will make it past the parliamentarian, only because as a politics junkie, I will tell you that based on what I've seen so far, I don't think she's having it. It doesn't appear as they would say on the reality shows, is that she is having it with this particular set of rules. She's already thrown a number of things out, and I think she's going to continue to throw things out that doesn't make sense.
Well, I could tell you, JD.
Sorry.
I like that comment.
They don't.
You're right.
She's not having it with many of the reconciliation bills. It's not just this one.
Right.
there's
not just this
there's
one.
a pile of them.
I'm not pigeonholing this one, but that's my point earlier,
yeah.
where is you try to push through all these things at one time, and I think it's bad for everybody. So
yeah, I would like to state why we didn't take a position on it, though, because it's a much more complicated issue. Whether we need more housing, whether we want more housing, that's not an UPLA position. That's not an OHV position. And I think largely it's a political issue. And that's what it's going to come down to is, and I think that's the uproar. I think the maps created a lot of false perceptions with people because they were just not true. But
yeah,
we don't really care. I just wish it'd be over because I don't care whether it goes through or not. I really don't. I just am getting tired of getting grilled on it. And I'm tired of talking to...
Well, there you go. All right, well, we're done talking about it now. If it makes you feel any better, I'm ready to move on. All right, who's got a 2018 Jeep Wrangler or later?
I've got a 2019.
Wrangler, Gladiator. Okay.
Oh,
24.
I guess I do.
I guess I do, he says. Yeah, well, you do, Deck. How many vehicles you got in the shop, Jeff?
Well, ones that I own, I've got 3 Jeeps. 2 JKs, and I just acquired a Gladiator. So yeah.
Okay. Well, then pay attention because you might want to try to figure out a way to get this covered. Stellantis has rolled out a TSB technical service bulletin for those of you not in the know who haven't had a lot of warranty work done for Mopar. For the Pentastar V6, if you own a 2018 to 2025 Wrangler, Gladiator, Grand Cherokee, Pacifica, Durango, a 2019 to 2025 Ram 1500, made before a specified the Ram only made before a specified mid-2024 build date, and you have experienced misfires,
The cam
a
issues.
rough idle, a clicking valve noise, or cam issue. Stellantis says it's caused by an intake camshaft or a rocker arm wear around 60,000 miles. Dealers now have a kit to fix it under a service bulletin, does anybody want to finish the sentence for me? It's not a recall.
It's going to cost.
It's only, you have to have it be a problem first.
Okay.
That's the kicker. They won't fix it for you, but they will fix it for you if it's under warranty. So what's the standard what's the standard warranty these days? 100,000 miles? I don't know because I have my weird Mopar warranty that everybody makes fun of me about. So what is it 100,000 usually?
I think
it's
the drivetrain
100,000 on powertrain.
on 100.
What'd you say? I'm sorry, what'd you say, Calvin?
I think it's 100,000 on our drivetrain.
It was like 100. So you got like 60 to 100,000 to like hopefully have a problem with the camshaft that you got to get maybe this taken care of. So
I mean, the one I really want,
know.
it's kind of stupid, but I don't know if Steve has this issue. I have that stupid, I don't know why I really like it, but the instant fuel mileage in the cool little colors, it disappears every so often, and then 6 months later it'll come back. It's a dash.
That is a
short
random issue.
It's a short in the dash that they can't find.
Okay.
But you have certain features in
Steve,
your
do you have
in
that
your
problem?
dash that disappear.
If you get old enough of a Jeep, you don't have to worry about those dash features because you don't have them.
I mean,
There
I like
is
the
that.
bells and whistles. What
There
can I
is
say?
All right. So what year do you have, Calvin?
24.
Okay. I'm going to give you a name of a company called Caraboter, and I will tell you what I tell everybody else. I love their products. I hate their customer service, and I will talk, guys. If you're listening from Caraboter, I've been saying this shit about your company for a year and a half. I love your product. I do, but my God, is it a pain in the butt to get a hold of you, and it is a pain in the butt to deal with problems. But to your defense, you did send me a dash when after I complained about a number of things and I had some issues, which ended up being a dealership problem. So that's why I sit here and tell you now, Calvin. Caraboter makes an aftermarket dash, and maybe that'll solve the computer problem for you. And it's very nice. It goes the whole length. It's very pretty on the new Jeeps. I gotta say, it's very nice. It's a big screen.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of why we bought the 24 over the 23. Was it's got a stereo about that wide.
Okay. Because I couldn't tell. I can't see. I'm having a hard time telling if Jennifer's in the background going, "Oh Christ, he just told him about more stuff he doesn't need to spend money on for the Jeep that already doesn't do what it's supposed to do. That it's supposed to do."
I mean,
it's a instant thing. It comes and goes, and it's not really that important to me. So,
what I mean, it tells me if I'm sticking my foot in it too much.
Yeah, well, even if I couldn't see her face, I could feel the energy through the screen. Of people. I knew.
I mean, you can ask her. You know, we currently don't have a tent or an awning.
not like it's cool enough to camp right now, but it's okay.
But the big push on the new upgrade was So yeah, she kind of pushed for that.
Yeah, you better
upgrade.
finish this. Huh? Okay.
If you were watching, I pointed at her.
Yeah, but to be fair though, to her, how many other upgrades have been at her? Was she pushing as her thing?
I mean, it depends.
Jennifer, I'm looking out for you. I want you to remember this. No more bringing up the sand shit, okay?
I mean, typically an upgrade happens because of her when she goes, hey, you know, it'd be really nice if I didn't have to do this, or I could do this while we're out camping. I go, hey,
Okay.
you know, they make a product for that.
Yeah. All right, I hate to tell you this. I really hate to tell you this because I feel like I'm bursting the bubble. She already knew that.
Probably.
She was just trying. She was essentially gaslighting you to let you know.
And you know, you want to know.
Hey,
you want to know how I knew about this stuff? Because when he finds these new products, he tells me about them incessantly until I change my mind and decide I want it.
Look, all right.
I mean,
I give up. I was trying to give you the cover, Jennifer. I was trying to, you had all of it, and then you threw it away. Okay.
I mean,
I can't say the tent was my idea. I was looking forward to the new tent.
Okay.
it's setting on 38s right
you
now
guys
because we want to do certain trails that she wants to do. And I'm like, well, you know, we could do them easier on 38s.
All right. Well, Jennifer, I'm going to mark this moment, and then I look forward to having you on again in a year when we talk about all the bad decisions that you helped encourage and make in terms of upgrades.
I mean,
yeah.
it's not on 40s because I can't find a tire carrier.
Oh, for crying out loud. Here we go. All right, Justin, we know a guy. Hey, Justin, Calvin's looking for somebody that can make a tire carrier for 40-inch tires on the Jam.
It can be done.
Wait, hold on.
It can be done. Oh, wait. Now she wants to stop the train. Okay.
Well, actually, I'd really recommend one for 42s, to be honest with you. So
There we go.
At this point, you may as... Justin, as a manufacturer, I would tell you, you may as well go ahead and start going to 45s and 46 levels. You may as well just kind of engineer a couple years out. Yeah.
mm-hmm.
I mean,
It's only going to get better.
I don't. Yeah, it's not getting better.
we do have this group of friends that since we've been on 35s, 33s, they're like, every time I go on an obstacle and I start to get stuck, they stand next to Jennifer and go, 40s, 40s. So...
Nope. I am sticking to my 35s. Now, if somebody wants to buy me a 4-door Jeep that I don't have to worry about, I'll put 40s on it. Sure,
You know,
that's
35s
fine.
dig sand just great.
This Jeep, you know what? You can piss right off. I'm having a run at Trail Hero this year, and admittedly, I've not cleared this with anybody at Trail Hero. I should, really. But I'm having a run. I'm going to do a day run. I'm going to do a night run. And it's going to be all 35s to 37 friendly. None of this crazy shit doing, you want to do the crazy stuff, go ahead and do the crazy stuff. But one of the biggest issues last year was I couldn't find anybody that just wanted to do a regular trail at night, with 35s or 37s. And I'm just I'd love to do some of this cool stuff, but everybody's got 40s. So.
Talk to Keenan. He's on 33s.
Those of us, I know he's going to be on the run, and you guys aren't welcome.
I mean, I can bring a change of tires and go down tiny.
Everybody's welcome. You know what? Honestly, you're welcome, but you have to go at the front so that you can throw a toe strap on us if we need it.
There you go.
I was going to say, do you want to just call us if you get stuck in the sand?
Yeah. Shut up. What's up, man? Why?
Dude, that was perfect.
This is perfect. This is not fair. I feel ganged up on now.
I hope you're going to Trail Hero so I can meet you and shake your hand for that one, Justin.
Yeah,
Good
let's
Lord.
do
it. He'll be there. That's how I met him. All right. Okay. Let's see here. What's the other one I have? Really isn't necessarily a story. Jeep's been making a lot of changes. We'll talk about that on another show because I don't know. They're trying to fix their brand, and it's rough. But Calvin sent me this and I had totally kind of forgotten about this because this happened a couple of weeks ago, months ago. Initially, there was a story about Jeep or somebody had put a patent request in for this, and then all of a sudden it came out at, I don't know, Overland Expo West.
Yep.
And
That's where we saw it.
They're like, oh, this is actually going to be a thing, and it's going to be an officially licensed thing. So let me share my screen here real quick.
So they actually had us fill out a survey and everything on how likely we were to buy it and everything. And it was Jeep themselves.
Okay.
I remember seeing this.
What did they tell you about it, Calvin?
So they partnered with Dometic to make an air tent, and they're trying to officially license it through Jeep if there's enough interest. So this wasn't made by anybody but Dometic and Jeep.
Cool.
And
is this an actual inflatable tent?
Yes.
It just inflates, right?
Yeah. So the arms and all the legs inflate and it airs up. You pull your front tops off and it locks into it, and it becomes part of the Jeep. So you keep your factory top minus your front Freedom panels, and it just snaps on and clips in, and it's, like I say, they're trying to make it officially from Jeep.
Yeah, that's probably the best picture of it right here. There's a steel step that they give you as kind of a brace to save your armrest. But that leads up into the rooftop tent that's above there, directly out of the cab. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it all folds over and becomes a hard shell
And
out of fiberglass.
It does come with a ladder like a normal rooftop tent also, so if that's how you choose to get in and out, you still can.
Oh, good, because my 6'6" ass is not getting through there.
No, that'd be for dropping small dogs down through.
There you go. Okay, I like that a lot, though.
Yeah, that exterior ladder, though, looks like it's made for bears.
I mean, if they're smart enough to crawl it.
If they're smart enough to crawl it, at that point you're like, okay, you win. All right, you got up the ladder, so eat me.
I mean, they're still going to have a challenge when they get to the top of the ladder.
We always have protection when we're up there in that tent. So
remember, we are from Arizona.
Yeah. Okay.
You turn 18, you turn 21, and they kind of hand them out to you.
Okay, fair enough. I'll give you that piece of it. Because that's not going to help you against a snake. I don't think you get that kind of aim in the dark.
when you're camping right next to the border, though, it does help.
There is that. I do like the streamlined nature of it, though. When it's all compact, it does look
cool,
like part of the unit, part of the Jeep. It's nice.
Now, the picture that you have there in person, it did not look that part of it. You could tell that it was on top of your tent or your roof, but it was one of the best ones. Like, I even asked the guy, I'm like, so are you replacing your hardtop with this? And he says, no, it sets on top of it. And then he kind of showed the line of where it was setting on top and attached.
Oh, you know what? Because I think if I had if this were an orange hardtop to go with the Jeep, you would be able to see it. But you can see the line here that's the hardtop itself.
Yeah.
Okay, I see that.
And
that would look weird with my hardtop. Okay.
Yeah, it's really nice because the awning tucks in, everything tucks in. And he said they did that to streamline and help with fuel economy.
How much does it weigh?
I don't remember.
I don't remember what he said. I mean, we're, 2 months out now since we've seen it? But
let's see if it says somewhere here in the article itself. But
just like I'm wondering how hard it would be to take it off.
Yeah,
oh, that's a good question.
I would imagine it wasn't that bad because he did say that's why they retained the original top was so you could remove it. Yeah. And for us,
I may have an unpopular opinion, but not for me.
What's your unpopular opinion, Josh? We live for
the rooftop tent like that is not my jam.
No? All right. If you'd like to tell Josh how you feel about rooftop tents, the number is 719-408-0882.
I mean,
But no,
I'll
don't get
be-
me wrong. I'm with you though. I'm not a huge fan of rooftop tent. But why are you not a huge fan of rooftop tent?
Well, like, and like I don't mind some of like the really low profile ones. But
Yeah.
like in California, we have lots of trees and lots of stuff to rub on. So like typically the top is not on a Jeep if you're out wheeling.
Yeah.
So we're just, we don't have the top on to begin with. So it just would be a waste for me. And plus it's too bulky up there. I don't like the look of it. I don't know. It's not my jam. That's all.
And it makes me top heavy
It's okay.
as well.
I think that's all right.
I mean, you've seen our gear. We were looking at that more as like an alternative for Jennifer once we get her Wrangler, because the Gladiator's built. She doesn't want to go anywhere near as extreme as the Gladiator is. So that would be kind of a nice, well, we're just going to go hit some Forest Service roads. We can just take your Wrangler this weekend rather than taking the Gladiator and using twice the fuel and everything else.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Well, all right. And this is my last point then. According to the instant search, and I hope it's not wrong, but apparently it's 103 pounds, which is not bad.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not bad.
No.
Considering most are 200 to 300 pounds.
Yeah, that's light.
But
I mean,
It's all air.
it's an Arab tent.
yeah,
That makes
and
sense.
and maybe we shouldn't have glossed over that, guys. This is an inflatable tent. Like, so you've seen kind of like the tents where, and you'll see on Amazon where you can inflate an 8-person tent in a couple of minutes because all the side things are, it's just a whole inflatable system. I'm curious now. I have questions about how this stays inflated and whether or not it has to reinflate itself once in a while. And
Sure, it's just
whether or
like
not
the
it's gonna
shade
wake
that we
me up
have.
at 2 o'clock in the morning.
We have one of their shades. It's a
Oh,
10
that
by
pissed me
10.
off.
And it's in a bag like this, and it weighs like 10 pounds. And it
But
just stays aired up. I mean,
does it
It's made by Dometic.
does
the
it
same.
go off once in a while though?
I mean, we've never really used it.
we haven't used it much, but I have a buddy that
Okay.
runs Rack Attack, and I don't think they've aired theirs up more than one time. And it sits on their floor all the time.
Okay, I guess my question would be is whether or not this thing's gonna like try to reinflate itself at 2 o'clock in the morning while I'm trying to sleep and I'm already having.
No,
Like, I'm already a light
you have to
sleeper,
hook your
like-
pump up to it.
Okay. Okay. I mean, that also leads to a potential problem where you could wake up with your tent roof on your face.
Yeah,
I mean, you could.
I'd be curious.
Thank you. I appreciate you, Amy, because I see you shaking your head. You're like, yeah, I see that shit. Yep.
That would be me. That would be my life.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I'm not opposed to it. I like it, and I like the idea of inflatable tents in general. I think it's not a terrible way to go for a future, especially if it's lighter. Like saving 2/3 of the weight on a rooftop tent instantly makes a rooftop tent feasible to me as a person with a 2-door. Instant. Because now I'm not so worried about it becoming a top heavy beast that I'm worried about, any kind of a trail with a shelf road of any kind. So interesting. All right. Anybody else have an opinion on an inflatable tent? Would you do an inflatable tent for a Jeep or a Toyota or anything?
I think it's a great idea. It's not the setup that I would want for what we do, but I think it's a great idea, and I think we'll see more of those in the future.
Yeah. Well, you got do you have a rooftop tent on yours?
Well,
Yes.
not really. It's a wedge camper. It's a Harker wedge camper. So
Okay.
it only weighs 300 pounds.
Okay. Would you think about any kind of an air tent like that to save 200 pounds of weight?
No, probably not.
think it's
We've
not
got
worth it?
hard sides, which is really nice, and it's a lot more secure, and we're not on the ground, which is nice, but it keeps the weight low. Like our weight is not real high, like with a rooftop tent. It keeps the weight much lower in the bed of the truck.
Okay. There you go. Hey, that's another good point.
My question, my wonder,
I will
Steve,
say,
is I know my tent's only 200 pounds at max,
Yeah.
but I'm about 1,000 pounds in the bed because of my batteries and my fridge and my rack, what's your actual add-on weight?
I don't know. I've never actually added it up because I do have a fridge, and I've got a fridge. I've got an inverter. I got a 13-gallon water tank. All of those are sitting on the bed of the truck, so to try and keep the weight low as well.
All right. Well, as long as you're balancing it out. I mean, the Gladiators it's a different platform, so I'll give you that. You have a different platform to work off of. So I have a 2-door Jeep which barely can tow a trailer I shouldn't have brought with me to an event.
I was biting my tongue.
It drags you down in the sand.
You don't have to. You don't have to, because I was going to bring it up because it was a perfect way to bring this whole thing back around, and so we can close it out and let Kristy and Ozzy go to bed because it's late. So
they're going to go out and do a night ride right
say,
now.
Kristy?
Watch.
Right? What'd you say, Kristy? Yeah. See, I was going to say, we need to get you guys out of here. So, all right. Well, that's it, guys. I don't have anything else in the realm of news. I'm going to, for our next live show, we will do a better job of kind of doing a news roundup. I just kind of decided at the last minute, I'm like, you know what? I don't feel like we've done news lately, and there's a lot of it out there. So I'll grab some more for our next one. But in the meantime, it was just kind of nice going around the table and seeing what's going on. Any final thoughts on anything that we talked about tonight? I don't care if it was on our live show earlier or if it was about the news that we had tonight. I'm going to go around the table and I'm going to hit everybody individually. So, Kristy and Ozzy, I'm going to start with you in case you guys are like, yeah, I want to get the hell out of here immediately. Anything else you guys got to share, or anything else you want? Opinions you have on any of the news articles we talked about? Yeah, no, that's a fantastic point, and you're 100% right to bring it up because we don't live in a bubble, right? We all travel, especially for wheelers, and like Ozzy, you're coming 200 miles to go wheeling on Drummond, right? Like I'm sure you've got Forest by you, right? Yeah, they're getting there though. Michigan's getting better about the off-road trails outside of Drummond, so good deal. All right, that's a really valid point though, Kristy. That's a good deal. Okay. Let's see here. Who should I go to next? Well, I'm just gonna go next on my screen. So that's Justin, Josh. Josh, anything else on the stuff that we talked about tonight? Do you have any other opinions about an inflatable Jeep tent that we should talk about?
Justin or Josh?
Justin, I'm sorry. Justin,
you're good, man.
It's as bad as Steve and Katie.
It's like, what? I was like, I think
it's
he's
a Steve
talking
and
to me.
Katie, and that is a second White Russian. That was what they did for JD. Yeah.
No, everything sounded good. I mean, I think we're getting some better wins with our off-road, land use, so that's good. Yeah, and the national forest thing is huge. So I like to keep our lands public and open for everybody to access. So yeah, keep on trucking.
There you go. Keep on trucking, says the guy with the shop. That's amazing. All right. I'm going to give your better half the last comment. So, Mike, how you anything else that you were required to share from Brantley?
No, I talked about Sunflower earlier, so my obligation to Brantley is done. I picked on you at the beginning of the show, so that obligation is covered.
Wow.
So let's see.
Okay. I really, you know what? I appreciate all of your dedication as a group to ribbing me tonight. I appreciate you coming on the show to do that. Thank you very much. Well, thanks, Mike. I do appreciate you.
That's what I'm here for, JD.
Thank you very much.
I really appreciate you having me on.
Anytime, buddy. Anytime. And Amy. So again, the better half, the person that I still like. Thank you for coming on the show. Did you have anything else that you needed to add or wanted to add to all that?
Thanks for having me. Just that if anybody's watching and wants to register for Sunflower, they can go to our website, www.midwestcrawlers.com/sunflower.
See, you're much better at that than they were on the show when they came on the show with me. I had to be the guy with the Midwest Crawlers with the K. I had to be with the K guy all the time. Good deal. I'll make sure the link goes into it in the bottom though.
Well, thanks.
Thank you.
This will go up in a couple days, so you guys, it should be up before your event. Good
And
deal.
hey, I don't tease people because I am a terrible off-roader and I get stuck more than I drive. So I don't tease. Just
You
so hopefully
are
you feel
apparently
better.
amongst friends, Amy. So you and I are going to go wheeling together,
That
and then we're
sounds
just
like a
gonna
plan.
we're gonna put all of these people in front and behind us, and they can tow us out.
Share your
there
location
you
so
go.
we can come save you guys.
100%. I
Will
can
do.
do that. That's fine. I got one of those. I got one of those units. I could do that. Yeah, we're good. Amy, we're good. I got you. Yep, you're set. All right. Let's see. Next on my screen, Loren. What else you got for me? Anything else on any of these?
You know, the only thing I'd like to say is just one more comment on the rooftop tent. I'm not trading in my Newmar, my 40-foot Newmar. I like my Newmar motorhome.
That's funny.
Okay, well you're at a different level though. I have to tell you, yeah, you're at a different place, and I appreciate you. I wish I was at that place. Yes, I've got my eye on that inflatable rooftop. But I will gladly come by and hang out with you in your air-conditioned camper.
That's
at
awesome.
every event.
That's awesome. All right, you're very welcome. Thank you very much for having me on.
Thank
I
you
appreciate
very
it.
much. Awesome, man. Always. Steve, that means you're up first, man. Anything else you want to give to us before we get out of here?
No, I don't need to add much. I mean, I'm completely surrounded by National Forest Service land where I live in Montana, and we have a Jeep Badge of Honor trail like 5 minutes from my shop here, the Wild Bill Blacktail, and it's a lot of fun, you know. But I'm also a member of UPLA because we like Sand Mountain and you know that area so much. We actually bought property down there. We've been coming down there for quite a few years. So it's pretty important to me that, you know, BLM land stays open, Forest Service land stay open, and you know, because we recreate a lot, you know, whether it's on motorcycle or in the Jeep or in the side by side, we are always out doing something off road.
Yeah, and we talked about it. You guys are in an area where you have limited mileage to begin with, and you can't. When you start talking about reducing any of that, it becomes a much bigger issue. And I just got done editing the episode with Southern Four-Wheel Drive Association, and we talked about that. Like, yeah, it really sucks when you close 300 miles of trails in San Rafael Swell, but if you close that same percentage of trails in places on the East Coast, you're closing. You're taking 10 miles and turning it into 6.5, and it gets very, you're talking a scale very, very fast.
Yes.
So yeah, it's good to be involved with it. It's good to be, no matter where you're at, and no matter wherever it is that you wheel, find out what's going on there and find out what's going on there in land use, and then get involved in it so that you know that's the place to start. If you want to get national, go national. But at the very least, if you wheel in Colorado and Utah and Michigan, find out what's going on in those states and then get involved with them so that you know what's going on and you can chime in when those things come up, like Loren said.
Exactly. Well, and Blue
right.
Ribbon's a good way to do that because they do it nationally as well.
They really do. Blue Ribbon does it nationally. The group I mentioned earlier, the Southern Four-Wheel Drive Association, they're doing a lot of that stuff out in the Southeast. And, you know, but the Blue Ribbon's kind of becoming the clearinghouse for that stuff. So, yeah, by all means, just find your local conservation group in terms of trails, and they will tell you who the most impactful group is that you can join locally, and then branch out from there, right? And go out from there and see whatever turns your crank. If Moab and that area is really important to you, then find the groups that are trying to protect that area and get involved with them. If the most important trails for you are the ones on the East Coast, find those groups and get involved. So good deal. Awesome, Steve. All right. And Calvin and Jennifer, Steve and Katie. Anything else you got for me?
No, just thanks for having us on. And, you know, when you get stuck, if you're over here closer to us, let us know. We'll come pull you out.
You know what? I will. mostly because you have a Jeep, and then I don't have to get crap about that for the rest of my life. So, because that's what I'm going to get crap for on the video when I finally share it. It's going to be that.
We could bring the Explorer because Jennifer's still driving an Explorer right now.
I'll take an Explorer. That's fine by me. I like weird builds. I have to find a way of a video of me not being recovered by a Bronco to happen, but we'll see. I have some ideas, but none of it's ethical.
You could always edit the video to put a big giant yellow smiley face over the Bronco so you can't see what it is.
I mean, I could do that, but that seems real petty and stupid. And
you guys were talking about AI earlier. You can just figure out how to make AI get rid of that Bronco altogether,
or make the Bronco way bigger so it really seems impressive.
No, that's where the unethical piece comes in. Yeah, that's where the unethical thing comes in because, I could probably do it with that.
If you're really smart, just sell that video to Ford, and then they can use it for advertising.
You can make a lot of money.
Damn it, Justin! Because I could use the money.
There's your rooftop tent right there.
There's my 4-door. Hell no. You want that money? You want that video, Ford? Reach out to me. It's going to cost you more than a Bronco.
You could definitely last.
I mean, at that point, then I think I should ask for enough money to get both the 392 and the Ford, and then the yellow Jeep just becomes a trailer queen. But now we're in fantasy world, and I can't do that because this is not going to happen. Oh, Christ. Look, I don't have the money for any of what I just said. All right. Well, we'll see what happens. Maybe. All right. So I will play that video contingent on the fact that I don't get an offer from Ford to not play that video in the next episode.
I mean, if you'd have met us 2 years ago, we'd have been in a Super Duty overlanding. So
Super Duty. Oh, I've heard so many different overlanding phrases in the last. Let's see, rock landing, pre-running landing, over off-roading landing. Like
we started our adventure in a Super Duty.
It's whose line is it anyway, dude? It's off-roading. It's the rules are made up and the points don't matter. The titles don't matter. It's all the good. It's all the same. All right, let's get out of here, everybody. All right, well, that's it, guys. I appreciate you hanging out with me this week. This was a bit of a new piece for me to get this many folks on at one time. So I might make a couple tweaks to it, but I think we had a good time tonight. I'll see if I get any complaints from you after we're done. But I really do appreciate you all joining me tonight and kind of coming in here and kind of playing around with just inviting everybody to see who comes out for this kinds of things. So thanks to you guys. Thanks for all of you who are listening and for riding along with us this week and letting us be a part of your off-road adventures. Safe travels on and off-road. As always, stay the trail. We'll see you guys next time with the Trailhead. Night, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
This is where trails start and our stories unfold.